Have you ever looked at a painting and felt mysteriously uncomfortable yet couldn't look away? René Magritte's surrealist works have been captivating audiences for nearly a century, leaving viewers both fascinated and disturbed. In this video, we'll explore how the Belgian master's iconic images like the Son of Man, with its bowler-hatted figure whose face is obscured by a hovering green apple, bypass our rational mind and speak directly to our subconscious. Magritte, haunted by his mother's tragic suicide, channeled personal trauma into art that challenges our perception of reality. His deceptively simple compositions reveal profound psychological depths that continue to influence everything from Hollywood films to modern advertising. When you look at the Son of Man, what makes you unable to look away from that floating green apple obscuring the man's face? The painting creates an immediate tension. We expect to see a face, but encounter an obstacle instead. This frustration of expectation is not accidental, but forms the foundation of Magritte's psychological impact. Magritte's art creates psychological tension through calculated visual disruptions. While most artists satisfy our pattern recognition abilities, Magritte deliberately frustrates these expectations. The human brain organizes visual information into recognizable patterns. But when encountering his paintings, our neural pathways attempt to process images according to reality's rules, only to find these rules violated. This activates our amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, creating immediate emotional responses that bypass rational thought entirely. Consider how differently Magritte employs this technique across his works. In The Son of Man, the obscured face creates visual frustration. Similarly, the Treachery of Images achieves this through linguistic paradox, a realistic pipe paired with text stating, "This is not a pipe." The contradiction forces us to confront representation itself. It is indeed an image, not an actual pipe. Our brains struggle with this disconnect, like attempting to solve a puzzle where pieces simultaneously fit and don't fit. In The Lovers, two figures kiss with their heads completely wrapped in cloth. We desire to see their faces, but cannot, mirroring our own struggles with intimacy and the impossibility of truly knowing another person completely. These visual puzzles function like koans in Zen Buddhism, questions designed not for logical answers, but to provoke deeper awareness. The genius of Magritte lies in creating visual scenarios that generate specific psychological effects. His images feel simultaneously familiar and strange, producing a dreamlike quality that continues to haunt viewers decades later. This approach influenced generations of visual artists who learned to speak directly to our subconscious minds, forever changing the relationship between image and reality. Why do filmmakers like David Lynch and Christopher Nolan repeatedly draw from Magritte's visual language to create moments of psychological tension? The answer lies in the proven effectiveness of his techniques to unsettle audiences. Magritte's methods for creating cognitive dissonance have permeated modern visual culture, becoming a psychological toolkit for contemporary artists across multiple media. The fragmented imagery in Golconda, Magritte's 1953 painting of bowler-hatted men suspended in the sky, mirrors the surreal disorientation in films like Inception and The Matrix. These works share Magritte's fundamental interest in reconstructing reality. The floating bodies in Inception and the coded unreality of The Matrix employ the same mechanism, presenting familiar elements in impossible arrangements to disturb our sense of order. Advertising has appropriated this isolation of objects from expected contexts as a fundamental technique. Products appear in surreal scenarios that engage the mind in resolving visual contradictions rather than questioning commercial messages. This cognitive short-circuit bypasses consumer skepticism through the same psychological principles Magritte mastered. The digital age amplifies this influence. Image manipulation tools make once revolutionary visual paradoxes accessible to anyone. Modern photographers like Gregory Crewdson create elaborately staged scenes that employ Magritte's technique of making the familiar strange, producing dreamlike suburban tableau with subtle distortions. Meanwhile, the relationship between text and image that Magritte explored in The Treachery of Images has become central to meme culture, where juxtaposition creates meaning beyond either element alone. Street artists like Banksy similarly create political statements that connect directly with emotional responses. Magritte's techniques have become so embedded in our visual vocabulary that we often fail to recognize their origin, yet their power remains undiminished. As virtual reality and augmented experiences emerge, will these psychological principles take on new dimensions in immersive environments? The evidence suggests they will become even more powerful precisely because they operate below the threshold of conscious recognition. Magritte's paintings continue to haunt us, not because they show us the impossible, but because they reveal uncomfortable truths about perception itself. Our reality is always partly a construction of our minds, a fact Magritte forces us to confront. His influence permeates our world like a mirror, distorting familiar reflections. The floating objects in film, impossible advertisements, visual paradoxes in digital art, all echo Magritte's visual language. What unsettles us most about his work? Perhaps it's what it reveals about our waking reality, that imagination and perception intertwine more than we admit. Next time you glance at ordinary objects, ask yourself, what boundaries might Magritte help you see differently?